He has a doctorate of clinical psychology, founder of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. Let's welcome Dr. Umar.
Dr. Umar Johnson.
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 I keep telling you, consciousness over coochie, politics over punani. Black women are beautiful. Let me refocus. Why do you need white man paperwork? I gotta check the coons. I gotta do a coon analysis and a coon screening. All A's and B's. You know what A stand for? African. You know what B stand for? Black. We don't get C's. That stands for Caucasian. And D stand for devils.
We are the inheritors. We have an inheritance, brothers and sisters. We are the children of the Ma'afa. I am the descendants of those who came on slave ships. I am the offspring of Douglass and Tubman and Ida B. Wells and Fannie Lou and Mega and Fred Hampton. I inherited their struggle, brothers and sisters. And I have a responsibility, and so do you, to keep the torch lit. Keep the fire of African liberation burning. We have a responsibility to finish the work of Dr. King, finish the work of El Hajj Malik El Shabazz, finish the work of Kwame Nkrumah and Patrice Lumumba and Sekou Touré and Dedan Kamathi and Menelik II and His Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie and Winnie and Nelson and Chris Hani and Steve Biko and Robert Sobukwe and Peter Tosh and all the great African activists. I am honored to be an African. The word African is older than the word indigenous. Africa was not named by its conqueror because no man ever conquered the whole continent. Alexander the Great conquered Kemet. Caesar conquered Kemet. The word Africa was around and is older before Leo Africanos. It is from the ancient Kemetic language, Af-Ra-Ka. Af-Ra-Ka. Ra is God, Ka is spirit, Af is from. When we say we are African, an original Kemetic word, we are saying we are from the Spirit of God. African means I am from the Spirit of God. The greatness of Garvey, the greatness of the most honorable Marcus Garvey is Garvey organized us not with self-hate, not with fake religion, not with false scruples, but he organized us with African consciousness. Garvey organized us with African consciousness.
Brother Umar, give it up for this brother coming to Lansing. Shed light on us. Good brother. I'm not even going to introduce him. He don't need an introduction. You ready for the mic, brother? You ready for the mic, you guys?
Lansing, Michigan. Make some noise one time, black family. Make some noise, make some noise, make some noise. I'm glad to be here. It's been a long time coming. I spent so much time down the road in Detroit that for a long time, a lot of people thought Detroit was the only place I cared to visit. And it's not true. Without the invitation, there is no manifestation. And I would be here today if it wasn't for good brother Monty and his team. So put your hand together for brother Monty, because he made this happen, brothers and sisters. He made this happen. So I've been to Pontiac twice, Flint once. I was invited to speak at Ferris State. What is that, Big Rapids? I spoke in Muskegon twice. Detroit 1,000,001 times. And today my first time in Lansing. Long time coming. I'm a big fan of Earl and Louise Little, the parents of Malcolm X, who built Marcus Garvey's Lansing, Michigan UNIA chapter into a very powerful movement across the state of Michigan. You all know the story. He was lynched, train tracks, murdered, body sliced up, 1931.
After that, they started breaking up Malcolm's family. His mother was sent to Kalamazoo mental health institution. They later got her out, but it was right here in Lansing where Malcolm's life really began to take a turn for the worse after his father's murder and then the destruction of the family. And then tomorrow, I'll be in Kalamazoo for the first time, and I'm looking forward to going there as well, because today, I stopped at the location where Malcolm's home once stood, and tomorrow I'm going to stop at the gravesite of one of our greatest female ancestors. I'm speaking of none other than Isabella Baumfree, aka Sojourner Truth, who's the first black woman in American history to win a legal suit against a white man, and she did it in 1828. First black woman to make a living out of being a public speaker on a full-time basis. Sojourner Truth was. And so I'm going to stop at her gravesite tomorrow and pay respect. And if you haven't been to Sojourner Truth gravesite, especially my beautiful black women in here, you need to make sure you go, take some flowers, take some roses, because our ancestors never died. They are always with us. They are the angels that guide our path. Brothers and sisters, I want to get right into a conversation about our children. I want you to raise your hand if you have children who have not yet graduated high school. I'm talking from the birth to 12th grade. If you still got children who have not graduated high school yet, raise your hand. That's pre-K, newborn, toddlers. Okay, most of you do. So as you know, I'm a certified school psychologist by profession, doctor of clinical psychology, and I want to talk about the special education ward, because I was doing a little bit of research on Lansing, and I'm gonna get into some of the statistics that I discovered about Lansing, because to be honest with you, I'm a little upset with you all in Lansing, because in looking at your special ed numbers, looking at your black teacher numbers, looking at your black boys with ADHD numbers, looking at the amount of black boys in Lansing, Michigan in disciplined school, it's a disgrace. Your numbers in Lansing are worse than Detroit's numbers. In fact, you're in the bottom half of the entire state of Michigan and in the bottom 25% for most academic success indexes for black children. So the question I have for you all, what the hell are you doing except sitting by letting white folks turn your children into prison fodder 20 years down the road? We got to change the way we're doing business. We know what white folks are about. They've been consistent for 400 years. Say what you want to say about the Caucasian, he has never changed his colors. The problem is we're not consistent. The problem is we don't organize. The problem is we're not mobilized. The problem is we are comfortable being on the bottom. See, when we talk about post-traumatic slavery disease, one of the things I want you to understand about who we are as a people, psychologically and collectively. One thing that slavery did to African people in America that we still suffer from right now in central Michigan is what? Slavery took away your natural desire to control your reality. Black people are the only people in Michigan who are comfortable not having any control. This is why you can shop at supermarkets ran by other people selling you dirty food, and the idea never comes across your mind to build your own supermarkets. This is why you can take your children to these hospitals ran by Caucasians who are killing our people, over-medicating our people, sentencing our people to death in the name of prescription drugs, and the idea never crosses your mind, let's open up our own hospital. Did you know African people in America once owned and operated more than 500 hospitals? I'm gonna say that again. Now, we've only been under British North American control for 400 years. But in 400 years, we owned and operated 500 black hospitals. You can hardly find them now. Because the difference between the 20th century Negro and the 21st century Negro, which is you all, is the 20th century Negro wanting to get out of his oppression. You don't want to get out of your oppression. You like being under white rule. You just want to be comfortable under white rule. See, you don't fight for freedom. You fight for comfort. You don't want independence. You want convenience. And I want to be clear about that. Because when we get out here and we start rioting and protesting and voting and doing all this, most of you are not doing that because you want black people to be captains of our own ship. That's not why you're out here. You just want the white man to give you a better job, a little better house, a little better looking snow bunny, and your ass will be okay. You understand? Most black people don't want freedom. You want better comfort under the white power structure. So let's get into the school system. First of all, I got some facts I need to drop on you. I want you to hear me really clearly, because you'll probably never hear another black psychologist tell you this. And the reason you'll probably never hear another black psychologist tell you this is because most black psychologists make their money off of keeping you dumb, deaf, and blind. Rule number one, special education is a business. Special education is a business. Special education is a hustle. Special education is a racket. Special education is a system of making money off black kids whose black parents don't make them do their best, so they never get referred for special education in the first place. When I evaluate your child, when I bring your child into my office as the school psychologist, and I label that boy or girl with intellectual disability, or a speech or language impairment, or autism, or an intellectual disability, or deafness, or blindness, or brain injury, or orthopedically impairment, or reading disability, math disability, listening disability, comprehension disability, or oral expression disability, once I put his name in the computer, once I put your daughter's name in the computer, it goes to the State Department of Education down the street here in Lansing, and by the end of the month, an electronic transfer of funds is sent to the school in your child's name. Special education is a welfare check. It's a way of hustling black kids whose black parents can be easily convinced to believe that your child can't get an education without special education. Now, my 4 times great-grand cousin happens to be the greatest black leader in American history. His name is Frederick Douglass, actually Frederick Bailey. He taught himself how to read. So help me understand how Frederick Douglass, 200 years ago, could teach himself how to read. No IEP, no ADHD, no Ritalin, no Adderall, no Concerta, no Cycler, no Depakote, no Meditate, no learning support, no emotional support, no intellectual support. Frederick Douglass and hundreds of other ancestors taught themselves how to read in the 19th century. But yet your son needs a special ed teacher in order to learn in the 21st century. How does that work? How does that work if I go into most of your houses right now? Most of you right here. I'm willing to bet if I go in your house, and I'm speaking to those who have school-age children, I bet you there's no dictionary in that house. I bet you there's no bookshelf in half your houses. I bet you there's no thesaurus in half your houses. I bet you there's no complete set of encyclopedia in your houses, but let me tell you what's in that house. iPad, video games, big screen TVs, cell phones, Air Jordans, and fake ass hair. I promise you it's a whole bunch of that. I'm not picking with my sisters with the fake hair. Because guess what? If it wasn't for black men overvaluing European standards of beauty, they wouldn't have no fake hair. So the joke is on black men. The joke is not on black women. If we would only affirm the natural beauty of our sisters, we could destroy that $30 billion Korean hair care industry overnight. The black man is the reason the black woman isn't natural, not the black woman. I want to be very clear about that. I also want to be very clear, black man, that you are an absolute insult to your race if you are dating a woman who don't look like your mother. Too many black men are dating Arabs and Asians and anti-African Latinos and Anglo-Saxons and European Jews. For what? These people raped us, killed us, enslaved us, still disenfranchise us. All the hell you caught from the white man, and you wake up 400 years later and you want his daughter to carry your baby. Wow! Black woman, some of you won't do no better. You out here with white males. Hasn't the white man had enough free opportunity to your vagina? Hasn't he been raping and killing our mothers for centuries? And here you go, you wake up 400 years later, and you want to carry a white man's baby. What the hell is wrong with you? That ain't nothing but self-hatred. Talking about you can't help who you fall in love with. Really? Then where the rich white women married to the broke-ass black men then? If you can't help who you fall in love with. Show me that! If color is so damn blind, we're the broke brothers with the rich white girls. You can't find them. Because white women only get with black men to get something out the deal. And if you ain't got no money, they'll settle for your melanin. Number one, special ed is money. Number two, I want you to hear me well when I say this. The learning disability is an idea, it is not a fact. I need black parents to understand this, because many of you have children in special ed for reading and math disabilities who do not have reading and math disabilities, they have lazy disabilities. Your son is lazy. He could learn how to read, he don't feel like it. Your son is lazy. He can learn how to count, he don't feel like it. And the problem is, you're not going to make him either. See, there can't be a lazy child without a lazy-ass mother or father. Which is why if I was in charge of the school system in Lansing, Michigan, if I was in charge of the school system, we wouldn't diagnose the children, we diagnose their mothers and fathers. You are the disabled one, not the child. I once had a conversation with a black mother. She told me, Dr. Umar, you are wrong. My son has a reading disability, and I know he does, because I had one, his father had one, his grandfather was in special ed. She told me special ed ran in the damn family. I had to tell this Negro sister, I said, sister, listen to me real well. Special education is not genetic. It's only been around for 50 years. Let me tell you what runs in your family. Not the reading disability, that's not genetic. Not the IEP, that's not genetic. Not the psychological evaluation, that's not genetic. Not special ed, that's not genetic. You know what runs in your family? Poor parenting runs in your family. No homework runs in your family. No established bedtime runs in your family. And some of you think you're doing a good job by spoiling your daughters and spoiling your sons. What did Malcolm X say? If you black, you gotta be twice as good to get half as much. You gotta be twice as good to get half as much. So Brother Malcolm said you gotta be twice as good to get half as much. How is your son and daughter getting everything without doing anything?
Came with change, I'm amazed, take the high road. Made the play bet on my game, I'm a splash code. Can't complain, I make it rain, heavy cash load. See my veins, I get the gains, you a slimy troll.